All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to what is our 13th already town hall. I want to first of all say uh, great work for everyone who has finished the courses they've gotten up to this point. I know it's been a lot of work, and we threw a lot of new content at you and things like that. And I've really enjoyed like interacting with those of you who've reached out and asked for help. But I'm very impressed at the amount of work that you all have been doing. Um, for those that have not yet finished all their courses, or if they're yet to be graded and stuff like that, I think I'll be talking with Shay about like how we select the people. We are starting to select people who will move on to phase 2 today. So today is the beginning of the project-based learning phase of Reskill Americans. We have a number of projects that we're going to divide people up into teams that involve kind of a full stack application with back end and front end, either mobile or web applications. And I think we think you'll really enjoy those projects, and they're really interesting, and they'll give you an idea of like how a full application is put together and working together to do that. So if you're falling behind on some of the courses, though, please don't give up hope, and we will be here. We will continue to support you. You can continue to stay on Slack, ask questions, complete assignments on the LMS, and we will grade them and allow you to move forward that way at your own pace. We'll, it depends on, I can't guarantee like what exactly we will be doing for you for entering into phase 2 if you're not ready to go today, but we will try to work something out. So our goal is to not say no to anybody and who is willing to work and work hard and to continue to do work. So I want to encourage you to keep going. We will still be here, and we're still going to support you in some way as best we can. So just so with that said, why don't we get on to introducing people? So good morning, Juan.
Good morning, Mike. Good morning, everyone. It's another week, and I'm really excited that we're going into the project phase where everyone will get to start to put their skills into actual practice. And I'm really excited to see what everyone builds.
Yeah, me too. That's it'll be a fun phase and definitely a different type of learning, I think, but one that I think cements the concepts in your mind when you work on something real like that. So anyway, so we are joined by two people from SoftwareONE, and SoftwareONE is a global software company, well, we're going to learn more about that, what the company does this morning, and what the kind of positions they're hiring for. So we're joined by Nina and Bill. Nina, why don't you start off, introduce yourself?
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Nina Unger. I've been at SoftwareONE. I'm about a month away from my 6-year anniversary. So I have worked here and seen many, many different things. So we're really, really excited to be able to be speaking to you all and be presenting this brand new opportunity that we have just started in the last few weeks. So Bill can kind of give an introduction to SoftwareONE, and then I will talk more through our Academy program that we'll be talking to you all about. But my name is Nina. I'm excited to work with you.
Thanks, Nina. Hey, good morning, Bill.
Morning. So my name is Bill Winans. I'm a regional director at SoftwareONE. I've actually been here about 2 years now, or just over. And this year, SoftwareONE is trying to take a little bit of a different approach. And that's part of why we're here now. So SoftwareONE historically has been a software reseller. So you want to buy, Microsoft Office Suite for your entire enterprise, we will facilitate the transaction, make sure that it gets to you. But where SoftwareONE has really started pivoting many years ago was into professional services. So not just delivering that software to you and facilitating that transaction, but also how do you use it? Some of the more complex enterprise class software, how do you make sure that it's actually implemented as per best practices per the publisher? And how do we make sure that that you're using it correctly? And one of the bigger challenges that our customers face is that they're not over consuming something where they're accidentally pirating software on a corporate level, or they're not under consuming something where they're spending lots of money in places they don't need to be. And so that's where a lot of our professional services groups started to work out. And we've really shifted in the past several years, even more so this year, to not be a software reseller, but to be a professional services company first. And with that, a lot of our growth areas is in our technology services group. Now, even through COVID, with the pullbacks that so many companies have had, we've had nothing but a meteoric rise to grow within our client environments, new clients, the scope of what we're doing with our clients. And a lot of what we're doing right now, where we are hiring for, is around our technology services and application development and application modernization. Now, we all know what app development is. That's making the app in the first place. Application modernization is a little bit different in that a lot of companies are transitioning from a legacy on-premise data center into a cloud-based environment. And that means that all these applications that we're running in these data centers aren't cloud optimized, and they need to be modernized. Hence, we're going in and retooling a lot of these legacy applications that were built, potentially recently, potentially dozens of years ago, in order to work in a modern public cloud environment. So Azure and AWS and Google Cloud, et cetera, and making sure that these are optimized applications. And so we have a ridiculous amount of business in front of us. We have a huge backlog, and we can't hire people quick enough. And the challenges that we're having is that while, yes, we're going out and hiring the senior architects, people with 20 years experience in the space, where we're really lacking is developing our own talent internally. And that's why we're here today, is because we want to get access to people that are trying to get their first roles into a developer type role. They're trying to get that entry level starting point in their career with guidance. And we fully recognize that there's so many companies out there that have the entry level job requires 5 to 10 years experience, not what we're doing.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do now is find people that have gone through a way that they can show some base level of capability, and make sure that we can then upskill them ourselves. So, all right, take your base level of knowledge around the technology. We'll send you through a training program. It's about 12 weeks, and we'll help upskill you, get some certifications, and work within the technology in a more applicable way. And this is intended to be that transition from the theoretical knowledge of classroom experience to really looking at what are our clients actually buying, what are clients paying us for, and making sure that you can get hands-on experience shadowing the experts in the field in order to build up your own skill sets and be successful working hands on the keyboard yourself. And so our SoftwareONE Academy program is intended to do exactly that. This is a brand new program. We just hired our first 22 people a couple weeks ago, and we have some goals of hiring several thousand people through this program across 4 different countries, actually. Wow. 5 countries now. So this is going to be a very large program, and one of our growth metrics that we have is upskilling net new talent, building up our own talent rather than just hiring people from with 20 years experience, and making sure that we can kind of build our own culture of success and really tap into not just the college grads and MBAs and computer science majors, but also go into non-traditional education paths, hence why we're here. We want to leave no stone unturned in finding good talent, smart people, not just going for again, the people 20 years experience, not just going for Ivy League schools. We're trying to go anywhere we can to find the good talent for this type of development work. And then people that are smart enough to figure it out. And then we will teach you we will give you that direction on what needs to be learned.
Yeah, I like the way you say that, because I worked at Microsoft for about 20 years myself, from the earliest days, and I think over the years we really came to value for us, like hiring those new developers who are not who are maybe not set in their ways by working at like another company, and there's something about like bringing in someone who's like new to the skill set and is open to learning and is kind of absorbing things like a sponge, and just kind of could get the company culture, could understand how things are done in our company and stuff like that. It was quite a different experience than, we did hire a lot of experienced people later on in the company's history, but there was always that little bit of that tension, like, they do things differently. And, in some ways that's good. Like, we learn from people like that who can come in and bring new ideas, new kind of other ways of doing things, and cross-pollinating best practices between companies. But there's something about hiring someone who's open to that learning phase of their career. And I think that it's so valuable, and they can be really great employees and do some great work in that context.
Absolutely. And you bring up a good point there with the company culture there, because SoftwareONE really does pride ourselves on our company culture. Everybody here ends up being friends with everybody we work with, and there's always that one guy. No, so we really do pride ourselves on. We love getting together. We love having in-person events, and we love being able to celebrate the successes that we're having. And you have to like the person you're working with, and invariably we do. And we hire not just for the skill set, but we really do hire for the culture, making sure that you're going to fit in, making sure that you can get along with your team, because ultimately that's what's going to make this work. And that's the challenge we have, is we're growing as quickly as we are. We're buying companies, we're hiring out the wazoo, and being able to maintain that culture of success is one of the challenges that we have. And that's one of the reasons that we want to be able to hire not just those experienced hires that have their own set way of doing things. We want people to grow into our way of thinking and our way of working together, and make sure that we can kind of continue that success, but also tap into those untapped talent pools, and understand more about what are some of the emerging technologies, what are the things that are being taught right now. That's what we want to get access to as well.
You mentioned, maybe we can step back a little bit about the company's a Swiss company, headquartered in Switzerland. Is that right?
Yeah, so we went public, I think, a year and a half ago on the Swiss Stock Exchange. Very international company. We have over 6,500 employees, I believe.
Okay.
And we operate in, I don't know, 180 countries, something like that.
Okay.
Swiss company, German CEO who lives in Singapore.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Our US-based headquarters is out of Wisconsin, but most of our employees around the US are remote, so you don't need to be able to go into an office. I, for example, live in Atlanta, and I've only been to a SoftwareONE office twice. I think I flew in, and so we're very enabled to be remote and very dispersed here.
Oh, that's great. Well, you mentioned 5 countries that their SoftwareONE Academy is going to be launching into. Is that right?
Yeah. So we have Colombia, Costa Rica, Germany, and
Spain.
Spain. Thank you.
Okay.
So those are the first 5. Now the US has been the first to market, first to hire, and we already have folks going through our Academy training program as we speak. They're just starting week 2 today. And so we're kind of setting the gold standard for how the rest of the world is going to operate in hiring Academy associates, and setting the curriculum, if you will, for next steps in training and shadowing and mentoring.
So are you planning on starting like new cohorts every 12 weeks, or what will the kind of pace be for starting up?
Not every 12 weeks. It's a little bit reactive to the market because we are going for non-traditional education paths like with you guys, and
Like
we are
boot
going
camps and stuff. Yeah.
traditional campus hires as well. And so the last group that we did was a combination of folks that came out of some coding boot camps as well as some campus hires. And I think the next group we'll have probably in mid-fall. It will, if you guys are finishing your program in October, that's when we're going to target for a start date for the next group.
Okay. Yeah.
And we'll probably also target for our campus hires who are graduating in December for a January start date.
Yeah. Well, it sounds pretty good to like, if I would apply, I would want to move to Costa Rica and then work from there. That'd be great.
So this is actually the fun thing about it is because we are such a global company. Well, so two things. One, we have a policy at SoftwareONE. If you've been with the company for a year, you can apply for any role internally and for lack of a better word, have an exchange program. It happens all the time where we have consultants in the US that want to have a stint in the UK or in Belgium or wherever. And it happens all the time that we have people going back and forth to spend 6 months, a year permanently if they want to go and try things out around the world. And with this program in particular, we're the first ones to start hiring. The US is the first ones to start hiring in the company. That means
Okay.
there's a need in all these other countries, and we're the only ones with talent that we've hired and have trained up. That means that we're going to have a lot of cross-pollination across borders, and we want to encourage that because I personally love travel. I love business travel. I love seeing how other people in countries do business and how they work.
Mhm.
And I would love to be able to give that opportunity to folks in the Academy program. And that's one of the stated intents of this program is to allow people to have that sort of flexibility.
Oh, that's great. So your business is very much focused on a client, kind of a client focused. You're going to be working as an employee there. You would be working on projects that are working directly with a particular clients in different countries around the world.
Exactly. And a lot of the clients we have are, Fortune 50, Fortune 100. So large multinational companies are our client base. And as a result, the needs for working with the clients themselves could be international, as well as the more regional aspects that we have internally at SoftwareONE.
All right. Well, that sounds super interesting. Like you're, I think as a developer, getting exposed to not just, one company's way of doing things, but also like, talking to clients, seeing how different other companies around the world are working and what their needs are. It's really an interesting, I think it'd be great exposure for your academy and participants, to get that kind of exposure. That's really cool.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. So we've covered where and how big your company is. So it's a 12-month training program. We haven't talked very much about, kind of the, you talked about transition to cloud, and, kind of modernization. Maybe we can talk a little bit more about some of the details of the kind of technologies or skill sets that you're training for or are looking for now.
Sure. So within the developer tracks, we have a combination of skill sets that we're really trying to hire into. So in addition to the raw developer being full stack front and back end developers, we also have data centric development. And so this is working with ETL loads, working with data analytics, making sure that we can play into a lot of the data visualization technologies that we end up having to work with. So Tableau, Power BI, SAP, for example. And these are all ways it's the human interaction side of what we're building. So not just getting a data warehouse, not just making sure all the data is collected and that we have good data hygiene practices and set for our customers, but also making sure that they can actually consume that data. And that requires working with the client, running stakeholder interviews, understanding what are the actual business needs that they have, what are they trying to achieve, what's the business value that we're trying to drive, and then how do we help them to get there. And that's more of the consultative approach that we need to be able to take. So it's not just bits and bytes on the back end with zero human interaction. For those that are interested in it, I mean, some people just want to be hands on the keyboard, headphones on, and let me go in the zone. And we get that, and we support that. Other people want to be more upfront. They're more extroverted. They want to be working directly with the customers, and they want to solve the people problem, not just the technology problem. And so with the different tracks within our developer role, we want to be able to encourage that and also pair you up the right mentors and coaches in the field and give you the right shadowing opportunities to achieve exactly what you want within the role.
Oh, that's great. That sounds really good. So, so I don't know, Nina, I don't know if you wanted to jump in at all. You said you wanted to cover some more stuff about the Academy.
So Bill did a really great job. He kind of went on autopilot and just kept cruising. So he really covered most of it. I would just kind of reiterate that this Academy is meant to be really kind of the bridge between any sort of training or education that anyone may have, and then we'll come into SoftwareONE in the Academy, and we will train you on SoftwareONE knowledge, and we can help you start your career in whichever direction you see your passion. We have 7 core values that we hire very closely to, and passion being one of them, because it's extremely important to us to make sure that what you're doing is what you truly love to do. Because we're looking for individuals that really want to be here, that really want to be doing this work and are going to make a career in it. We don't expect you to retire with us by any means, but we want you to be able to spend a couple years and really find your home and enjoy what you're doing and be here for a while. So that's really kind of my added 2 cents to Bill's huge picture he drew for you all. So if there's anything else maybe that I've missed, but I think Bill did a really great job at shining light on what we're looking for and what we want to do and what we want to find people to do with us. So I failed to mention that I'm in talent acquisition, and so I'm seeing firsthand how difficult it is to find the senior level people that have the bits and pieces of the knowledge we need them to have. So this is where we've kind of decided to turn the wheel a little bit and dedicate a ton of time and resources into this Academy program. So within the US, we are working really hard to make sure it's going to be successful and wanting to make this career path. We haven't historically hired at this junior level into our technical roles. So it's newer for us. So we've hired tons of people to help us on the designing side of this Academy, what each week looks like down to every minute of these people's day. And so we want to make sure that what we're dedicating these resources to be designing is what these people want to be doing also.
Okay.
So we had a first smaller group start with us in April, and then they moved into the Academy permanently. And so we took into account with what they did in their first 5 or 6 weeks with us, was it actually what they wanted to do? We had a couple of people come forward and say, they were all developers. They came forward and they said, you know, I really enjoy the data side more than learning the general type of developer thing. So we're allowing them to more or less have a menu of options of where they focus their time, because we want to make sure they're engaged and taking away as much as they can from the program.
Yeah. Well, I know how it's, since we are also in the same boat of just starting a training program ourselves. I understand a lot of the challenges. It sounds like you've really put a lot of upfront time into you know, developing the tracks or the things that you've done. So, and I know how hard that is. Like we've stumbled a little bit ourselves, I would admit, on some of those areas, and But I appreciate how understanding that our participants have been, so they've been nothing but supportive of us, and even when we do make mistakes, and but
sorry, Mike, I did just wanted to follow up with Nina regarding, you said that there were 7 things that you were typically looking out for, and you mentioned passion. I wanted what the other 6 were.
Oh, now you're putting me on this spot.
Oh yeah, I wasn't going to put her on the spot to recite the 7 core values, but
yeah, so passion, humility, speed, employee satisfaction, customer focused,
Bill could probably help.
integrity. Short one. What is it?
So that's 7-ish.
I think that sounds about 7. Yeah. The human brain can only keep 7 things in its in short-term storage anyway.
So
I was thinking of.
I got 6 of them there for you. I could Google them very quick.
I'm sorry for putting you in that position.
Like I said, I've been here 6 years. I should know them in my sleep.
Because it's always just so interesting, because I think one of the reasons why these sessions are so useful for participants is because, we get many different people from different places talking about like what makes participants successful in these roles. And I think that having that perspective is really useful, because part of the things that we're also seeing is like a lot of the participants, just from participating in this town hall sessions, we're seeing people getting hired almost every week, and we're still in like phase 1. So I think even the learnings from here are so useful that they're able to translate it so well into like even interviews that they're probably currently having. And that's why I wanted to, drill that down and see how that might be able to help someone.
Yeah, so it's funny. I realized the one that I missed is discipline. And so that's one of the most important ones, especially with the Academy, because SoftwareONE, we pride ourselves in being extremely flexible. Our culture is one of those that where we want to make sure that you are available during the day to anybody that might need to collaborate with you or set a meeting with you, but we're also extremely flexible, and we want to make sure that you're working the hours that you're most productive in. So if you need to come and go and do an errand or go to the doctor or just take a break, we're extremely flexible. But discipline is a core value that I usually come back to, because it's also extremely important that you're dedicated and disciplined to the work that you're doing, because we have put a lot of time and resources into making the Academy, and we want to make sure that you're utilizing it to its full potential, and you have the discipline to make yourself successful, because really you're the only person that can make you successful. We've set up as much as we can, and then you're that person that needs to take it and run with it. So it's funny, I missed that discipline one, because I actually reference it quite a bit, but so there you go.
Thank you.
That's great. So, we're starting to get some questions on Slack. But before I get to that, one thing that I didn't want to forget is, Bill, you mentioned some stuff that was, I was just curious about how COVID has affected your company. You mentioned liking to be very social and having a lot of friends at the company, doing in-person gatherings, and but you also said that everyone is also working remote. So has the pandemic been hard for the company? I mean, I'm sure it's hard for everybody, but how has it been? How did it affect you, and has it changed the way people work at the company?
So first off, we have always been really risk averse when it comes to the pandemic. We were giving seems like almost daily updates on what we were recommending for our employees to do. And we were ahead of the curve. We locked ourselves down. We locked down customer travel, international travel, everything way before there were any actual regulations in place. So we were ahead of what almost anybody was doing, making sure that our employees were safe, first and foremost. Overnight, we closed all of the offices and said, all right, everybody, you have your laptop, you have an internet connection and a home office stipend, go be safe, stay home, wear a mask, etc. And we wanted everybody to not have to risk their health for this job. right? And so that was first and foremost. And then, of course, the rest of the world followed suit. Governments shut everybody down, and we were absolutely fine going into that because we did it on our own time. We did it at our pace way before anybody else. So that was step one. And we were able to have zero impact on business continuity as a result, because we all use Teams, we use all of our video chat and everything else to keep connected, not only internally, but also with our clients. And while we very much do value being able to go out and, hey, have a drink with your team and enjoy that little bit of time off, enjoy that personal human touch, we've done the best we could through the pandemic, but now that vaccination rates are going up, we still are very much locked down, but we're seeing the first glimpses of people getting together in groups of 10 or fewer. And it's 100% voluntary at this point. We don't require anybody to come out and have a company meeting. We have opportunities and chances for people to continue to work remotely and meet remotely, but we are starting to give people the opportunity to get back together and meet each other again, which is fantastic because we've had so many people that we've hired through the pandemic. My running joke through all of this is that, COVID was hard on us as a company. We had some really high growth rates for the company, something like 30% growth target for 2020. And it was very sad we didn't hit that. We only hit 26% growth.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh, wow. I think when I was at Google, it was amazing. Like, working at a company that's growing so fast, they had a little internal place you can go see what percentage of the company is newer than and I think within 2 years I was kind of at the median percentile. 50% of the company had been there less than me, which always kind of scared me a little bit. It's like I don't feel like I know that much about what I'm doing still. That's there's always a little bit of what is it called? Imposter syndrome. Everybody has it, worried about, do I know enough or whatever? But yeah, it sounds like, so you have 26% of the companies like already like new this year. That's pretty.
Well, that's revenue growth, not just.
Oh, that's revenue growth, not people growth.
So
okay.
In addition to hiring out the wazoo, we've also been growing the actual business. And
that's really great.
Fantastic backlog with our clients.
That's amazing.
In fact, our clients are getting mad at us because it takes us so many weeks to get people lined up for the work. So it's a great problem to have. It's a good growth problem.
So I do have some like kind of maybe more detailed oriented questions about the Academy itself. I think we're getting some questions about like, how do you apply? What is it? Do you become an employee of SoftwareONE during the program? How do you transition from the program to a full-time position? Could you give us a little bit of an outline of how the Academy is structured?
Sure.
Yes. So I'll take part of it, Bill, and then I'll give it to you for anything that I missed. As far as applying, what's that?
This is a you question, so go for it.
Okay, good. So as far as applying, we don't have anything posted right now because we are just getting our first cohort stood up, and then we're going to get involved with and stay engaged with Reskilling Americans and other universities and charity events and things like that. So we're going to get the engagement rolling, and then we'll post the position eventually. We're hoping like early fall, most likely. And then the interview process is usually pretty quick, especially if we've been engaged for some time already and involved with individuals. But as far as what was the other part of the question?
Once you enter the Academy, I assume you're getting a stipend of some type and to enable you to be in the program, and then what's the transition to full-time position like?
So we're still figuring that out too, whether we're going to do the same model as what we did originally, but I'm quite sure we're going to be doing an internship model with limited benefits
Okay.
For the first about 5 or 6 weeks
Okay.
to make sure that our program is what you want to be doing longer
Right. It's
term.
a good fit.
So then, so then for that first 5 or 6 weeks, and it's an hourly paid position, like I said, with limited benefits. At the end of that, then we decide who wants to go into the academy. It's a two-way street. We would give them an offer, and then if they accept, then it's a permanent full-time position that's paid $50,000 annually. And then as they kind of go through the academy program, they can have opportunities for bonuses. It's a full benefit package then at that point. And then once they are finished with the 12-month program, the full academy, then they would get an
Wait,
increase.
12-month or 12-week?
So it's 12 weeks of actual training, but for that first year, you are an academy associate.
Oh, I see. Okay, great. Okay.
The intention there is that we want to give people opportunities for growth and getting some early wins on their resume. And B, we want to be able to reward our top performers. And so the intention there is that after the first 12 months, you would be promotion eligible to be a full associate, and there would be compensation increases and everything to go along with it. Because ultimately, if we're training people and making this investment into people and making them look really appealing on a resume, the last thing we want is for them to walk out the door and start making more elsewhere. So we want to maintain competitiveness. Yeah. And so the intention is that we give people some rapid opportunities for growth and promotion and compensation increases.
Right. Well, it's amazing getting paid to go to school is always a great thing, or to learn things. And but yeah, it's I think it's great as they learn more about you and more about your company, be able to transition to that full-time role. So
well, we're making that investment into people, and we want them
definitely
to feel a part of the team. As Nina said, I mean, in the academy program, beyond the paid internship, once you join, even though you have 12 weeks of training, you're a full employee. You're the same as the rest of us. You have access to everybody in the company and every opportunity in the company, the same as anybody else. And so we're making that investment into people, and we want them to, feel the love. We want people to really feel like they're part of the team, because they are. And we want them to, as Nina said, we aren't disillusioned to think that everybody's going to retire with SoftwareONE, but we want people to have a good long career with us, and we want it to make sense for them too.
Yeah, sounds great. So I had another question about cybersecurity roles, and I guess just in terms of another thing I've been thinking about was just like, it sounds like you're not really you're kind of like agnostic about to the particular software stack, or I'm sure your clients have chosen a lot of different kind of back-end systems and tools and stuff like that, so that you need to, support things like AWS, Google, Azure, so maybe you can talk a little bit about cybersecurity one, and just is what sort of software background or stack do you focus on?
So generally at this level, we see full stack developers as something that's a little bit more senior, and that's something that we would see somebody with 10 plus years experience to really be a full stack developer.
Sure.
So for what we're looking at here is we're looking at people to specialize on the individual components, right? Do they want to be, front end, back end? Do they want to, run ETL loads, be a data person? And a lot of what we're hiring into is Java and JavaScript, C++, and Python, any scripting languages, things like that.
Okay. Yeah.
And going beyond even some of that, having some database skill sets, some SQL in there is fantastic.
Yeah.
Even better if you have knowledge of things like SQL POS or database as a service type modern database architecture are things that we're going to be more and more working with, because that's what our clients need.
Yep. Yep, I know, and things change so much. But yeah, it does take a while to learn. I think even for myself as an experienced developer, when I first learned Python, maybe 10 years ago or something, but it was like it's a learning curve, and you kind of pick it up quickly, but then you don't feel like really expert at it for, I don't know, 18 months, 2 years or something like that. So it takes a while. Did we talk about cybersecurity?
Cybersecurity. So we do have a security practice, and a lot of that is not just the technical bits of doing things like penetration testing and doing security audits for some of our clients, but it's also the human component. And it's doing process review and looking at the policies internally to make sure that that they are taking the right steps with the human side as well as the technology side. I say that a lot, but ultimately our clients aren't the computers. Our clients are the people, and
Yeah.
they work with computers. And so being able to jump between the two in any given day is a lot of the job. Is being able to not just understand the technology, but communicate the value of what we're doing.
Right. Yeah, and security isn't just a code issue. It's the whole system of like how everything works together. So yeah, I think I agree with, yeah, you'd have to understand like how all the processes work at a company, because there are vulnerabilities across the board.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
And it's an important piece, because every time there's a new hack that makes the news, it's free advertising for anybody who offers services on that front, right?
Yeah. And you mentioned like a lot of, your workforce is remote. So for Academy participants, are they all remote as well?
They're all over the place, but you have to be in the US for this role.
Yeah.
For tax purposes.
Yeah.
Obviously, for other countries, we're hiring in other countries. So
Yeah.
for this role in particular, for these open headcounts, we're looking for people that have the right to work in the US.
Okay.
We're not doing sponsorships right now, like visa sponsorships for this role.
Yeah.
If you're eligible to work in the US and you actually reside in the US and you have a good internet connection, you can be anywhere.
Okay, so we do have a couple. It's not many, but we do have a couple of our participants that are U.S. citizens. They've got their right to work in U.S., but they are currently like in Germany or South Korea, stuff like that. They would not be eligible because they not currently residing in the United States.
Yeah,
Nina, speak to the HR side.
Yeah, so we typically take it case by case. We have somebody review that scenario, but I believe it's like a tax issue.
Okay, like how
but
they get paid, yeah, whether they're paying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's typically why we keep it within the US. But
Okay.
we can talk about it.
Okay. Yeah. It's a couple people, but it did get asked here.
Yeah.
If you're currently not living in the United States, but it's definitely for people who have that either a work permit or U.S. citizenship.
Yeah.
So let's see. Have you been monitoring any other questions, Juan? Now I put him on the spot.
Yes, I'm trying to check YouTube. I think we have something there.
Yeah. I'm on Slack. Let's see. Oh yeah, talking about data science. And so do you have, so in the academy, it says you do, I think Bill, you said or Nina, you said that some people said like, I'd want to work more on data science stuff or data, as opposed to like maybe the more narrow or like software development skill set. So that sounds like you are offering that as an option.
Yeah, it all is kind of depending on where we have ability to have people internally be those mentors and those leaders. So currently we have 9 developers, and we had 2 people decide that they want to stay closer to the data side.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's good. It was a good ratio for that leader to kind of carry that mentorship as his own workload is also growing. So it's again, case by case.
Okay. Oh, so do you pair up academy participants with mentors in the company then?
Yep.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yes, it's a one-on-one situation.
Cool. All right.
And then someone was asking that what happens in the case where you're unable to complete like the first 12 months or you get another opportunity somewhere? Is there like a penalty?
And we would try.
Unfortunate for us because we've made the investment into you. But
Yeah.
it has happened where we had somebody that was going through our internship. They received a full-time offer and they got a dream job elsewhere that just made more sense for them. And it was unfortunate because obviously we wanted to bring them on full-time, but we wish them the best of luck.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's a challenging. We've heard that from other companies that are running their internship programs, because there is a lot of like corporate investment, on the part of an employer. I would counsel anyone entering into a program like that while you don't have to be absolutely loyal to the person, to the company that is training you, it's a good courtesy. And I think, be sure that you are committed to the potential for a long-term, employment relationship with that company. You're not just, using their resources to jump onto, some other opportunity. It's just kind of fair to everyone involved. And I think, I don't know, live your life to try to maximize good karma and be fair to everybody. So, but that said, you're not absolutely obliged to necessarily, if it's not the right role for you or for whatever reason. I don't think there's no, you're not going to go to intern jail, if you do something like that.
It's funny, when we were hiring this last batch of people, we got the question a couple of times of, what happens if we, quit early? Is there some sort of financial penalty? Because I know there are programs out there where if you quit, you owe this money. And
yeah,
absolutely not.
Okay.
Ultimately, like you said, we're making the investment into the individual. We would love for that to be reciprocated. And ultimately, especially early on in your career, you don't want to show too many quick jumps because you don't want to be seen as flighty when somebody's reading your resume.
Yeah. It can bite you if you look at like, why did you only stay there for 6 months or something? Yeah, it doesn't look great on a resume, and I know I've experienced that too. And I've reviewed resumes. That does raise flags. You start looking at someone's career and they're like, there's a lot of jumps here. What's going on?
Mhm.
Yeah, just you'd like an explanation of that. So,
Mhm.
All right. Anything else, Juan?
No, I think like all the questions are being answered.
Well, they had some about like user experience and designer kind of roles, because I think we've been covering more the software developer role. Is that anything? Is that in your program yet?
Not yet. It's in terms of our client needs, it's not there as much, especially when it comes to take an existing application and do a lift and shift from on-premise to a cloud environment. Oftentimes, you want the front end to stay the same. You want the back end to be more efficient and work in a different environment so that people can't tell it was changed, and or they only can tell that it's working better and more efficient or has access to more data. So that's really where a lot of our client needs are right now. And so we're not doing as much work on the front end. So that's not what we're really hiring into on this piece for the Academy.
Okay. So,
Great.
Oh, go ahead, Juan.
Oh yeah, someone had a question. Said he has a AWS certification, and how does that translate into your training program?
It means you're ahead of the curve. Part of the training program is that we do want people to get certifications in Azure, in AWS, et cetera. And I know that there's some pretty easy to get certifications, like the AWS Certified Practitioner, for example, is a free cert you can get, anybody can get. We try to go a little bit beyond that so that people understand. So what we try to teach why are we teaching developers about Azure and about cloud architecture? Is because you need to be able to speak intelligently to the entire domain of where this technology lies, not just can you be the best JavaScript coder. And so be able to understand all of the business value and all the domain expertise around where all of this resides is a huge component of that. So if you can demonstrate that, that's absolutely a fantastic point on your resume for why we would want to work with you. And it shows that extra initiative that you're passionate about this, you're actually invested into doing more than the bare minimum. So I think that's a fantastic point. We encourage all of our internal folks to get similar certifications and go beyond even that. And we have ongoing training requirements for every one of our employees because we want people to stay on top of new technologies, new certifications, and ultimately, when we're marketing our services to our potential customers, we're not just marketing, who we are and what some of our successes are, but we're also holding up the resumes of the individuals and saying, look, you're going to get these people working on this project. Doesn't that look good, Mr. Potential Customer? Yes or no? Yes. And so the more letter salad we can have behind everybody's name, the better, because the better it makes us look.
That's amazing.
Great. Well, someone, let's see, Ebony says that did I cut you off, Nina? I think maybe they were looking for what happens after you transition with the $50,000 a year stipend after the 12 months is up. What happens? And maybe just go through that again.
Ebony, thank you for looking out for me.
Sorry.
No, Mike, I don't think you cut me off. I was just going to add, I'm a super visual person. So the way I've been kind of detailing the program is with a gradient that the first 12 weeks are upfront. They're the more dense training, and you get a lot more kind of attention up front. And then as you go through the 12 months, it just kind of fades out. Bill was referring it to earlier, taking your training wheels off slowly. And I clearly have kids, so I can relate to that. But also it's just kind of like you slowly transition into the business. You slowly kind of get more customer facing projects. And then after that 12 months, you are eligible for an increase in your base salary and also bonus eligible. So that was just the rest of my thought.
Okay, so like your pay level, you're going to be evaluated for a pay level increase and bonus applicability and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Someone also asked around basic JavaScript knowledge and React knowledge. Like, would that be enough to get them into the training program?
So potentially, what we do as part of our interview process is we do some practical skills checks, and we give you some hands-on challenges to work within those given languages. And so having some general knowledge, the way you put it doesn't sound like there's somebody that can work a problem and come up with a solution. So maybe going a little bit beyond that, have applicable knowledge and be able to show some propensity for some low-level skills checks, I think would be the right way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, I think learning any like one skill narrowly defined doesn't necessarily make you capable of being able to independently build a project and things like that. Learning JavaScript all by itself isn't really sufficient. You have to be able to put it into practice, be able to look at a problem, figure out how to apply what you know to solve that problem, and that's a lot of like what the remaining part of our program is all about, is the application of what you've learned from a technology point of view to put it into practice. So yeah, I would concur with your opinion about that, Bill, too, about that just merely saying like, oh, I know JavaScript or React, it isn't sufficient. It's a great start, but yeah, I think employers are looking for the capacity to build things. we didn't talk about the way you do the interview process. I know some of our candidates are starting to go through some interviews. John mentioned that a couple of people have had opportunities along the way that we've been helping them with things. Do you ask like a coding question during your interview process for getting this internship, and how does that work?
Yep. So what we're going to end up doing is we'll have 2 different interviews and then 1 separate assessment that you'll have to take on your own. What we have used in the past few weeks was it's through Codility, and it ranges 45 minutes ish, where they have to basically show what they know. They can choose their language that they use, and that's where we then use that assessment results then in the interview to kind of talk them through their thought process and understand their.
So they do that. They do that offline using like a timed problem to solve on Codility. Okay, that's
exactly.
cool.
Yeah, so you'll have an interview most likely with myself, and then a second interview after they've finished that kind of offline assessment, and with a subject matter expert to kind of talk it through and see how you've applied that knowledge and just understand the thought process. So we want to keep the interview process quick, but also very thorough. So there, we might also build in a secondary assessment that's more of like an aptitude, more of like a personality type, to make sure that you are going to be somebody that has that dedication and integrity and the passion. So pulling in those core values into that other assessment. And that one also would be an offline type of a, it's a more fun, like type of a games, you click through and pop balloons kind of a thing. So it's a lot more simple.
Okay. Oh, fun. Okay. All right, great. Well, we have just a few more minutes in our hour, and I'd like to end on honor people's time commitment here. But is there anything you guys would like to add before we sign off?
So when Nina mentioned the assessment and getting the code to work, doing a simple problem, we've hired people into the program who absolutely bombed that component, but we walked through their logic. We talked about what was the challenge, what was hard for them, and why it didn't work. And we realized it's more about the individual and their aptitude to learn from mistakes and learn from something not working, rather than just, can you get a button to turn red or blue? And so it's a lot about personality. It's a lot about your appetite and your hunger to be successful that we're hiring for. Because we'll teach you the rest, but we need to make sure that people are have that hunger to learn and are willing to put in the work for to make our clients successful at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it said a lot more to us, the people that would test it after they realized they didn't get a high score, that would then kind of solve it on their own after the fact. It really said a lot more to us than someone that got 100%. So like Bill said, I think we were still figuring out the Codility assessments, but there was plenty of people that we ended up hiring that scored a 0% on that assessment, and they could just kind of walk us through it and prove that they knew how to fix it and what they should have done. So
that's interesting. Yeah, that's nice that it's not just a mechanical like failure. I've counseled people before too. Like if they don't do as well in a coding interview, you might. I mean, to be fair, like most companies like have a minimum bar for performance on a coding interview. So I wouldn't necessarily hold out that you can absolutely pull that out of the fire, But if you are dedicated enough to go, say, hey, I'm gonna improve what I did, and then send it to the recruiter after the fact, there's a chance, they might look at you again. So I think that sort of, dedication really shows a lot about the person, I think, as well. So that's cool that you've also done that.
Yeah. And I'm getting multiple people connecting with me already on LinkedIn, and I highly encourage that. So thank you all for being engaged in our discussion right now. It means a lot. We're really, really excited to continue hiring and improving our academy. So we want to make sure to keep in touch and continue out whatever we're going to. I don't know what that looks like with reskilling Americans right now, but being involved and staying in touch, but also just connecting on LinkedIn is a good way to start that.
Did you share your LinkedIn name? I forget if we talked about that or where they got that, but
it's my name, Nina Unger.
Nina
I work
Unger.
at SoftwareONE. So
Okay. Nina Unger at SoftwareONE if people want to connect with you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. People have found me already, so I must not be that hard to find. But I rarely search for myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, just wanted to say thank you for tuning in right now to listen to what SoftwareONE has to offer. And this is not going to be the last time you see us. So appreciate any of the time you dedicate to us.
Well, thank you. Thank you to both of you guys, and really appreciate what a great program you've created, and making it available to our participants is just so generous. And I really look forward to working with you in the future too. So, yeah, I can see that SoftwareONE people are really nice, friendly people. So I like both you guys, and I really look forward to us finding some great opportunities for our participants together. So that's great.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you too, Mike. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys. All right, we were going to call it. It's 9 o'clock now, and over here on the West Coast. So I'm in the stream, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Perfect. Thank you. Bye-bye.